This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy!
Hey, let's talk about you, the ID10T community events at ID10T.com, like Russ Stevens, a.k.a.
Catbus Russ,
who has started a podcast called 90 for Chill, which Russ says is dedicated to movies with a runtime between 74 and 99 minutes, the time frame that I feel is ideal. Russ, I could not agree with you more. That is a fantastic idea. Russ goes on to say there are times you need a cinematic fix but don't have time for the latest Scorsese masterpiece or offering from a comic book universe. There's also times when you need a conclusion to prevent a binge costing you a whole night. My guest and I try to follow these guidelines as we chat up features that are definitely worth your time and are beyond easy to make time for. 90 for Chill, the podcast, can be found on all major podcast platforms at 90forchill.com, and that's spelling out 90, Ninety, 4 FOR, chill. So there you go. Thank you so much for sharing, Russ. Really great idea for a podcast. Events at ID10T.com for everyone else.
Wait up. What are you doing with all this junk? Keep me busy.
Another long night of crime and violence.
Some say it's only a matter of time before the city implodes.
I think we're finished here. Go on, beat it.
I found him. Samaritan.
Samaritan died 25 years ago.
That's what they say.
You think you live across from a superhero? Do you have a therapist, kid?
Kid. Samaritan's dead. I pick up garbage for a living, pal.
Samaritan cleaned up the streets.
You mind your business, I'll mind mine.
I don't believe you! Are you okay?
I'm cool.
How strong are you?
Not as strong as I once was. Things start to fall apart when you stop caring. And I stopped caring a long time ago.
How come you hate who you are?
For some people, it's too late to change the damage they've done.
He's hiding something. I want him dead.
Really?
The things you bury tend to haunt you.
Why did you disappear?
Hey, old man! Try this. Come on!
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Bring the noise.
As a Gen Xer, I kind of think I've gone through all of the great Sylvester Stallone that's under 100 minutes. I say that with, in the 80s, they were all kind of brief, and this podcast will demonstrate that. But, of course he had Oscar and other features, his Oscar grabs, dare I say, which were a little longer, but he still usually keeps it under 2 hours. I would say after he kind of disappeared following Driven and the Get Carter remake, he didn't really pop up again until, let's reboot Rocky Balboa. Or I should say Rocky, but you know where I'm coming from. And then he did the Rambo reboot, and then he did the Expendables. And basically just resting on his laurels, dare I say? Or just riding that cash cow of big action star. So, needless to say, the 21st century outside of the Expendables, I'm not too familiar with. I guess I would say that, well, yeah, I mean, I've seen Rambo and Rambo Last Blood. Did not realize how beloved Rambo Last Blood was until I went to IMDb. I digress there. The point of the matter is, what makes me want to see Sylvester Stallone? So, with this podcast episode wanting to be a Stallone six-pack, and having forgot that I left the Escape Plan Extractors review on the Mortal Kombat review from about a month ago, I need to fill up this old episode with a couple of new reviews. So I went with Samaritan. It's an Amazon exclusive film, and it's a superhero movie. Yes, we know how well superhero-led action flicks worked for Stallone in the 90s. We will get to that. But, and I'm not going to say this film is too much better than that feature, as I say, which we will get to. But it fits Stallone a lot better, and it's definitely, like, this is an interesting project in the sense that the writer of it wrote a screenplay, took a while for that to get produced, so he wrote a graphic novel based on said screenplay. And this is supposed to be a dark, gritty superhero movie, which in the DCEU sense, perhaps. In the MCU sense, absolutely not. This is kind of the dark... Well, if you go back to the comics, this is kind of the Dark Knight Returns light. And I mean, I had some other feature that I would say it's a light version of. So that's where I'm going with. That's what the premise basically is. So 25 years ago in Granite City, not that little town with great wrestlers in western Illinois, there were two superheroes, twin brothers, and I shouldn't say superheroes, two twin brothers ostracized for their strength. One decided to take vengeance on the world, the other one was determined to stop him. And from what we knew, they both died in a final conflict between the two. That was 25 years ago. But people still believe that the good guy, Samaritan, survived and ended up killing his brother, Nemesis. I guess the Nemesis, because I don't know why there's a T in the character's logo otherwise, but that sounds a little like, that's like saying, well, then that's the Samaritan. So, yeah, semantics be damned. But, you know, the city's in a trashy situation. The city needs a hero, and there's two thoughts on that. You have our protagonist, a 13-year-old boy named Sam, played by Javon Walton, who's now going into professional boxing. And basically, the Samaritan was the person who would come in and save the day. And the philosophy of Cyrus, the villain, or the antagonist, I should say in this sense, portrayed by Game of Thrones, Palu Asbak, Euron Greyjoy, Bateau. I'm really curious about this one because his accent's not really there. Good on him. He's a Danish actor, or, you know, posts, what have you. But I digress. But he basically found Nemesis while he was fighting the corrupt people on top, always punching up. So, needless to say, one of these philosophies is going to save the city, or you would hope one of them will, because Samaritan, there's not, besides for conspiracies, there's no evidence that he's around. But Sam is determined to find him, and who would have guessed it, it's the garbage man across the street. And he's calling for him to save the city. And, you know, all the damage that was done between the collateral damage. So there's a DC element on that. Between Nemesis and Samaritan. He just doesn't want to get involved. But in the meantime, Palu's character Cyrus has gotten electronic, basically EMP bombs that he's going to shut down the city with and make everything equal. So it's kind of a fun little dynamic, I guess. The main character, our antagonist, is trying to play the only answer is anarchy, and I think a lot of people can get behind that. Dare I say, in a Tyler Durden light way. So hey, more lightness. And as for Samaritan character Stallone, it's just basically, I'm too old for this shit. But hurting other people is fundamentally wrong. And there's a great twist at the end, which really saves this film from just being like Darkman Light. That was the movie I was thinking of. It's so it ends up, with the message. It's so corny and tacky, though. It gave me those Lionheart tears even building up. So it's I think, an impactful film. As for the action, some of it's great, and then eventually the CG effects make it look worse than Wonder Woman. But the finale of Wonder Woman, I should say, hey, we got a burning building. What, Stallone's good as just being the Danny Glover. I think Palu Asbach is good as your protagonist, and I think the supporting actors just do enough to make you care about the two sides of the coin. So it's not high art by any stretch of the imagination. As I say, the CG gets ridiculous in the end, and how practical can you really get with a 77-year-old man? Granted, he was 75 when this movie was made, but I digress. But this is I think this is actually, as I talk myself around this movie, I think it's a great spot to kind of introduce teenagers, because there's not really any sex in this movie. So there you go. To the idea of comic book and superheroes outside the big two brands, and maybe even give them that idea that, how can an antagonist appreciate something like this, a protagonist like that? So yeah, it ended up being a bit of fun. I think I pointed out its flaws. Looks better than looks better than Suicide Squad. So they at least learned some lessons from the rest of the media, and I think it's as I say, I think it's a good way to step from our superheroes as defined by Disney, and a good little middle ground between the grittiness that I did enjoy from the DCEU with Zack Snyder and no slow motion.
Previously on 90 for Chill, the podcast.
What are the odds on Lincoln Hawks pitch? 20 to 1, pal. Real long shot. Hawks, let's go. The world meets nobody halfway. Remember that.
I don't have a father, sir.
The world has always bet against Lincoln Hawks.
This guy's nothing.
Why'd you leave us?
It won't happen again.
What my grandson found, I don't care how you do it. Do it.
But a winner never listens to the odds.
Whatever happens, I want you to stay with him.
Where'd we end up?
Together is all I can guarantee.
You ain't got a prayer in Vegas.
You never had anything, so you have nothing to lose.
All I want to do is hurt him, cripple him, get him off the table.
All I care about is you. You're my boy, you understand?
The world beats nobody halfway. Now is the time to do for yourself.
I own you.
Over the top, Dad! Over the top!
Sylvester Stallone, Over the Top.
So, I've just concluded watching Over the Top, and if this was your favorite movie as a child from the 80s, sorry, Cole Cabana, your childhood may have sucked. This movie is about Sylvester Stallone trying to win the affections of his estranged son while his estranged wife is waiting for him to get back from military school in time for her heart surgery. Spoiler, they go Walt Disney on the mom. That does not make this a good family movie then. I mean, if you're a kid, I guess you just really enjoy the last half hour of the arm wrestling, because I would have smacked that. I wanted to smack that kid, and it's not the actor's fault. It's just how they created him. Robert Loggia is your antagonist, the grandfather who does not want Link Hawk Stallone in his son's life. Really, there's not much energy behind that character. The arm wrestling in the last half hour is fun, but the rest of the movie is just a waste. And again, sorry if I mispronounced it, Giorgio Moroder soundtrack, kind of waste on a poor subject. I mean, it's competently directed enough, I suppose. I just don't get it. It's like the guys from Canon, one of them directed it, wanted to make his family movie, get some extremely weird situations with some action, and just expect us to swallow it. So I don't know if the heart was in the right place on this one. I just say go see The Wizard with Fred Savage, Beau Bridges, and Christian Slater.
Hello there.
My method to my madness was to capitalize on an actor who seems to know 74 to 99 minutes is the ideal run time if you ain't creating high art, and that would be Sylvester Stallone. I was raised in a pretty sheltered family, all things considered, or at least I was raised sheltered. I didn't get to watch R-rated movies until my mom wanted to see R-rated movies that my dad did not. Interview with a Vampire, age 14. Interesting experience. Stallone was in the next movie that I got to see, which was Judge Dredd. Mom was a big Armand Assante fan. You know, you can't help but like Stallone. I mean, 80s action. Movies were pretty brief at the time. I guess you could thank Steven D'Souza for his screenplays being pretty to the point, just focusing on action. Granted, you end up losing a lot of story, but sometimes these are so simple that you're not missing out on much. You know, Canon had made a decade of this, so Canon Group, pretty much, if it was a Chuck Norris movie, it was from them. This is why Sylvester Stallone is the ideal actor in action movies at this time, this decade, because Chuck Norris movies always ran long. Like, Delta Force is a drag, never mind the fact that it's just pro-Israel stuff from, granted, a couple of Israelis who ran Canon. I digress.
Now available on video cassette.
Is this trip business or pleasure?
Pleasure, I hope.
Welcome to the United States.
Hamer Reinhardt, sometimes called Wolfgar. Born Frankfurt, Germany, 1946. Educated Paris and Patrice Lumumba University, Moscow. Currently self-employed. Occupation, international terrorist.
You are to be indoctrinated in counter-terrorist techniques.
Deke De Silva, age 35. Born and raised New York City. Honorable discharge, U.S. Army, 1972. 52 registered kills. Occupation, cop. One man can bring the world to its knees. And only one man can stop him. Universal Pictures presents Sylvester Stallone in Nighthawks, coming in April.
So, for the first time, I've watched Nighthawks from beginning to end.
It is a 1981 feature starring Sylvester Stallone, Billy D. Williams, and Rutger Hauer in one of his early American roles. And it's very quick and gets a lot filled in. You really get to know the terrorist that Howard plays and the reluctant cop Stallone plays. I mean, a cop who we are going into some Scorsese type concept that cops are kind of the type who want to actually shoot their weapons, be like the hero on television, but I digress. Stallone is not out to actually murder anybody, and he doesn't want anybody to get killed, so it's a conundrum for him that way. Rutger Hauer plays Wolfgar, a terrorist for hire who's burned all his bridges in Europe, so he's gonna make it in New York, because if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. The film, it's just a very solid story. I think at times I kind of wish that we could get a little more of a once Wolfgar meets Stallone's character, Deke, the movie just goes off in running. There's really only, say, 2 action set pieces, 3 if you count the the final bit, and it has an excellent soundtrack that really makes it flow quickly. Like, say, an Argento movie, it's Keith Emerson who did the soundtrack for Inferno. I mean, all the characters are simple, but you understand them, and they're portrayed very brilliantly, especially Rutger Hauer, who mixes up his accents and such to prove how suave he is as a real evil person. You say it just runs at a great pace. The only thing I would have liked is more of a back and forth dynamic building up to it. Like, I could see doing some different edits, but you can't really argue with the end product. It's just a great character for Stallone, and you kind of wish he'd stick to more of those.
When there is crime in society, there is no justice.
As a city, we continue to grow. 73 citizen riots. Come and get us! Throw down your weapons and prepare to be judged! Judge this!
Court's adjourned.
Red, you're a legend. You were my finest student. Dredd, you're under arrest.
What's the charge?
Murder. The evidence has been falsified. Guilty as charged. I am not the law. I am the law.
Chaos.
The sentence shall be life imprisonment.
I'm the chaos. Fred?
Let me crush him, Paul.
Excuse me? We're not together.
It's not for this council to play God.
Who says politics is boring? We're going to war.
You're alone! Want to be with Drake!
You gotta let me coming. I'll be the judge's act.
Look out!
So, Judge Dredd. This is a feature that I originally saw in theaters, first weekend. That was the result of a mother who knows my dad wouldn't go out to a movie with a lot of gunplay. So, never really investigated that about my dad, but I digress. Got to see a lot of R-rated movies, or at least more than most, with my parents because of that. Or my mom, I should say. But enough of the stories. Judge Dredd. The heart is there, I think. The performances are alright. This is Stallone being Stallone, which is something that came after, say, Cobra, where he's trying to mix up his tough guy with his sensitive guy type shtick in an action movie where he's gonna just waste a bunch of people. It's very cold at times. Like, Collateral Damage is worse than I've ever seen in a
Steven?
the Sousa movie, which I think kind of detrimental is his high-paced action screenwriting. It just keeps going forward and forward, and it's like, no. Maybe we want to explore the mythos here, or the mythos. Sorry, Highlander fan here. So the story just doesn't hold up well. This could have probably been good if they really planned the franchise out instead of just let's go and just send Jared to prison and give him Rob Schneider doing his best antsy Richard Dreyfuss. The effects don't really hold up. It's very Batman Forever without all the neon, which is great for a while, but then you really just see all this science fiction stuff that Batman didn't have to deal with just doesn't hold up effects-wise now. So it's fun, but it's not a good movie. Let's just be frank. It shouldn't have been made. Not as this. There had been a better way to avoid copyright issues with the original Dredd comic.
Superman! So I'm with Allie from Allie's Accessory Shop on Etsy. And I know this is kind of catching her by surprise, but without being able to secure a guest this week, a lot of interest. Come on, text me back. I figured I'm been binging Sylvester Stallone action movies.
Not right up my alley, but yeah.
Well, I didn't know. I mean, you probably paid more attention to HBO than I did, so I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Over the Top or the arm wrestling one. No. You're better off for it. So, okay, well, at least we tried then. But, yep, so that's what you're going to be looking forward to is my take on a bunch of Stallone movies. We'll throw in, oh great, I got to do that tonight. I got to binge another Stallone movie, and I got to go and watch the H film from Allie's Accessory Shop on Etsy's trash feature review. So that's going to be my evening. Got anything you want to promote?
No.
Okay. Well, we'll see how her job specs look next week, and we'll tell you where to shop.
Society is breeding a new kind of criminal. It's also breeding a new kind of cop. Meet Cobra. He does the job nobody wants.
Did you use unnecessary deadly force?
I used everything I had.
Do you know you have an attitude problem?
Yeah, but it's just a little one. Do you think you would recognize me if you saw him again?
The tall one?
Yeah, the one that wants to kill you.
Do what you have to do to get a lead on this maniac.
And if I find him?
Do what you do best.
Stallone is Cobra, the strong arm of the law.
So I just concluded watching Cobra, the Sylvester Stallone Canon Films classic, which is pretty brief, very fast. It's a very fast-paced film, not much to the plot. Stallone is trying to capture a serial killer who actually has an army behind him, and the means of doing so is by protecting Bridget Nielsen, the only witness to any of these 17 murders. The motivations of the villains do not exist. For canon film, at least in terms of being produced by Golem and Globus, some producing or money lending thing happened and they couldn't put canon on the film. When you think of movies, say like Life Force, which is very ridiculous and over the top, or say Ninja 3 The Domination, those films, brief as they are, they take Life Force not so brief, but with Ninja 3 The Resurrection, about a ninja, an evil ninja, possessing an aerobics trainer, they explain everything about the villain, so you know what you're up against. We don't do this in Cobra. It's honestly reasonably directed by constant Stallone collaborator and George Cosmatos. Aside from some early shots that make it look like your typical 80s exploitation film, it's fine. Stallone is very likable, which you don't really get from trailers and such. You know, his stern appearance. Now, he's pretty likable, and as I say, it goes by pretty fast. It's not a waste of time, at least for the viewer. As for any kind of artist, maybe they could have at least spent the time to flush something out. But would I trade it for another 15 minutes? Probably not.
Something so small generates enough energy to reverse time.
Oh, just fix it, 11, or I'll take it to the Genius Bar.
He's had one professional fight, and one man is dead.
It's suicide! You can't win!
There's gonna be a time when you're gonna have to do things that other people don't think are right, but they're gonna be right for you. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Has the fight been set yet?
It's in Russian.
Are you
All your strength, all your power, all your love, everything you've got.
You know what to do. Do it.
He's not a machine. He's a man. Be more man than him.
I must break you.
Rocky is in serious trouble.
Breathe. Don't be scared.
Get up, you son of a bitch.
All those fighters you beat them with heart.
Get up. Get up.
Get up.
And I've finally gotten around to Rocky IV, Rocky vs. Draga, the ultimate director's cut. And you know what? I don't really understand what they were going with this one. Sorry, Sly. I say that as in, like, it's cool to get some extra footage, especially during the fights. But then it's just constantly cut to try to take away any levity the feature has, and that's not good action, especially for a Stallone feature. Like, I was thinking, oh, maybe I should get around to rewatching Get Carter. I saw that in the theater, but that didn't really seem to have any fun to it. And Stallone attempts with this director's cut to take away the fun. He wants it to be an intense story, and I guess for some that might work. I just happen to, gone through a lot of stuff in my life. My best friend died 20 years ago. My best friend / first girl I was in love with. I went bankrupt over a heroin addiction that wasn't mine. Like, I've had a lot of stuff now, and, I've lost some good people. So, and then drama, on top of drama. So the only way I get by is with levity. So I kind of feel like you're rather soulless if you do not. And it's I don't know, now I'm just thinking like, oh, that's kind of what they're trying to teach in church, isn't it? But you know what, I just got banned from Twitter, well, permanently suspended. You can find all the stuff at CatBusRuss, but there's not going to be any new content, sadly. We will figure out the workaround on that. I guess their argument's going to be, well, you keep sending tweets out advertising your podcasts like a robot. Like, screw you, Elon Musk. Just,
what's going to happen is if Trump gets elected, Elon's going to buy Truth and just merge it. So it's a load of bullshit going on in the world. See, I need that levity. I need Polly's robot. But, you know, it's not just losing Polly's robot. I would say, again, it's just like, you can see they've cut the musical numbers. You can tell where the cuts are. You can tell dialogue. Like Rocky IV is my favorite of the Rockies just because of the ridiculous nature of it. A Cold War movie. And you cut out the... you cut out lines like, you know, Apollo about to walk into his fight without the mouthpiece. You cut out... You know, though it's got to be intense and serious, and it just loses its fun. I mean, did he not realize that with the Expendable movies? Like, we just want to have fun. And, you know, we're going to say, we want our action heroes to say the things we're going to say after we see that or try to be clever with. Yeah, so this is, I don't want to say it, as I say, yeah, no, this is bad. Okay, you decide. You just see, if you love the first cut of this movie, this is not going to satisfy you. It's just really weird, especially the beginning. Like, you ruin the classic. Well, he gets indulgent. Like, well, I'll try to sum up Rocky III even deeper and make it more serious with Apollo's influence. And honestly, the first act is about Apollo, so I could see that working. But just don't go and cut away stuff. Like, if, you know, you can be angry at George Lucas for making changes, but it's usually addition. So, at least you know what was good. Here, you know, some kid watches the Ultimate Director's Cut, and it's just not gonna have, it just doesn't have the heart of the original feature. This cuts the heart out of it. To give you an intense sports experience, you know, if you're gonna do that, give me uncut 15 rounds of Balboa versus Drago. I mean, hell, you cut so much anyhow from the first act. Like, we don't get, you know, it makes you wonder why Polly's even hanging around. You could have written the character out, essentially. He didn't make the Russian trip. So, definitely a skip. And I hate to say that. But, you know, I got this on $4.99 on iTunes, so not that big a hit for me. So, with all that said, I'm looking for a guest to record a podcast I plan to release on the 14th of August. You know, I think I can come up with some content otherwise, but just, you know what, my Thursday evenings are usually, I've got a window after 3 p.m., and I would say, and any Sunday, you can hit me up. You can email me at russthebus07@gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com. Offer me a movie, a theme, a director, an actor. Try to focus on sub 100-minute material, but I can make anything work. And I'm trying to come up with embracing the idea of I dig crazy flicks. Thank you, Andrew, for the amount of brainstorming on that. So I wouldn't mind crazy. I really got to go back and review how many times I've had a guest on and we didn't go for something that's very much off the wall. So that's kind of what I'm into. You got a great character study. I mean, hell, I've been wanting to talk about train spotting forever. And, you know, I'm not going to say that's crazy. Sadly, I lived through that life as Rocky IV, the Ultimate Director's Cut, dragged up. So, you can follow me on Blue Sky at catbusruss.bsky.com. .social. I'm sorry. Blue Sky, it's at catbusruss.bsky.social. There we go. And I'm on Mastodon as well, at catbusruss at mastodon.social. So, and Instagram. I think I'm just going to have to go and make Instagram bigger.
So that's what's going on in my life. But it was fun. I at least got one good Sylvester Stallone movie out of it. Just not the one I expected, which, kind of makes this all worthwhile. Keep your eyes open, ears open, what have you. So, without a further ado, of course, I'm going to be at Fan Expo, hopefully with a great crew. I know I've got the Poetic Critic on my side. So, hey, if you're going to be in Chicago and I haven't gotten anything figured out yet, hit me up again at restofus07@gmail.com. So yeah, all I really got to do else is, mention that best friend who's still looking after me. And, I think she kind of keeps my kitty Ava in order, which is very tough since she's the queen kitty. But thank you, Stacia Marie Harden, for just making my life, it's a lot better having known you. So, and I hope you're still making sure everybody else you touched in your life is doing great. And take care of little Skimbleshanks, the one-eared angel. I don't know how you couldn't. That little fluff ball is irresistible. Of course, he does talk too much. So, but I guess you could tolerate me. You can tolerate the Skim. So thanks for listening to 90 for Chill, the podcast. We'll have a new episode next week with the Poetic Critic. And until that time.
Can I hear a wahoo?